Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. Well, we're hearing more from the defense in the Nathaniel Veltman trial. He was charged with killing members of a Muslim family in London in 2021. Plus, some seasonal campers at Holiday Beach are reeling over a major price change, a $500 fee increase, and the Detroit Free Press Marathon happens this Sunday. We catch up with a man who has run in every single race for the past 2 decades. For a second day, Nathaniel Veltman, the man charged in the roadside attack on a Muslim family in London, took the stand. 4 members of the family were killed and a 9-year-old boy survived in the attack in June of 2021. The CBC's Thomas Dagler reports on today's testimony happening here in Windsor.
Nathaniel Veltman testified about spending 12 hours a day or more watching what he described as conspiracy garbage and propaganda from a reputed neo-Nazi website and from infamous online conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. That's the type of material the avowed white nationalist says he became addicted to in the months before he ran over a Muslim family with his truck. Now 22 years old, Veltman wore a blue shirt and a black suit jacket today as he testified for the second straight day at his own trial. Veltman told the court early in the pandemic he was overcome with what he described as a suicidal depression. He said his mental condition only worsened in June 2021 when his grandmother died. I was at the end of my rope in this state of mental deterioration, being tormented by horrible thoughts, he said. My grandmother just passed. She was a mother figure to me. The accused testified later that week he was taking magic mushrooms, and the next day he carried out the attack. But was it premeditated? One criminal law expert we spoke to says the defense is seeking to raise doubt among the jury, potentially for a shorter sentence.
If the jury is not satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt of planning and deliberation, then it won't be able to render a verdict of guilty for first-degree murder, although a verdict of guilty for second-degree murder would still be available to it.
Veltman told the court his strict Christian upbringing and being told to be wary of the government primed him to believe COVID conspiracy theories. He recalled how he became fixated on websites featuring far-right ideologies and said he became detached from reality. While in the witness box, Veltman has not been asked directly about the truck attack on 5 members of the Afzal family. He has pleaded not guilty to terrorism-motivated first-degree murder and attempted murder. Veltman is expected to continue testifying next week. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, Toronto.
A mass exodus of Palestinians from northern Gaza is underway. They're making their way south after the Israeli army ordered nearly 1 million people to leave within the next 24 hours. Hamas continued to fire rockets at several Israeli cities, dismissing talk of an Israeli ground invasion as a ploy and telling people to stay put. Last night, hundreds took to the streets in downtown Windsor in support of Palestinian people. There was also one brief moment of tension when a man with an Israeli flag showed up and police intervened.
Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! عاشت عاشت فلسطين! عاشت عاشت فلسطين!
I can't believe I'm getting arrested. I'm the one who got assaulted. I'm the one who got assaulted right now. You really? Oh my God, you protect those people? Shut up. Oh, come on, give me a break. You know exactly what you're doing.
Shocking images, volatile statements, and high emotions. The conflict in Gaza and Israel is at the forefront of international news, and as you've been noticing here locally as well. Ongoing coverage and the speed of social media is thrusting bloodshed upon the public consciousness like never before. And those who work in mental health in Windsor say it can take a toll on members of our own community.
I think, it becomes a little overwhelming. Sometimes we, do get all too consumed with current events and things that are happening. So I think, there's a balance, and that'll be different for each individual, of knowing, how much time you should be investing in learning about something, and when it, becomes a trigger or for feelings or emotions that you're struggling to deal with, or when it starts interfering with your activities of daily living. What I can say is if you're having trouble sleeping because of the images and things that you're seeing or the news that you're hearing, we do have our Crisis and Mental Wellness Center that is open, and we have a walk-in service. It's barrier-free. We also have a 24-hour phone line where you can call if you're concerned and you're struggling. I encourage you to pick up that phone line and reach out for some help.
Thousands of Palestinian workers from Gaza normally work within Israel. Since Hamas's siege on Israel, they've been unable to return home. Many have gathered in cities like Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. CBC's Chris Brown has this report from that area.
We're in Ramallah on the occupied West Bank, and this is a recreation center, but the people who are here, they're certainly not here for recreation. When the Hamas gunmen stormed into southern Israel and committed their massacres, there were at the time thousands of Gazan workers who were legally in Israel. Most of them were working, but some people were visiting, and there were some people even in Israeli hospitals. And now all of these people are trapped, and this is where hundreds of them literally have been put. This is a recreation center, and as you can see, people are using a basketball apparatus to dry their clothes. They're sleeping on outdoor mattresses. They're trying to exist off donations that people from the West Bank have given them. But it really is a very sorry scene, because a lot of these men, it's all men who are here, they're extremely worried about what they're seeing on television involving their families. We talked to one man who has 9 children. He's barely been able to reach his wife. He says he broke into tears because he's so concerned that they're going to be killed by this relentless bombing campaign. However, at the same time, if you ask them how they feel about what Hamas did, that is not where they direct their anger. They instead bring up the fact that these people, these young men, were living under occupation, and one man described it as a fireball that was released into Israel. But their hope here, their futures here are very dim. The borders are obviously closed. Nothing is coming in or out of Gaza. And so for everyone here, they have no idea when they're going to get home. This is a place without a future. Chris Brown, CBC News in Ramallah.
There are some unhappy campers at the Holiday Beach Conservation Area after a big fee increase. Now some say they can't afford it. The CBC's TJ Deere has the story.
Come on in.
Dale Lee has been staying at the Holiday Beach Conservation Area every spring and summer for the past 6 years. However, that's all changed thanks to a decision made by the Essex Region Conservation Authority, or ERCA. At their Board of Directors meeting last month, ERCA approved a $500 seasonal fee increase at Holiday Beach's seasonal campground for next year. Seasonal campers will now have to pay $2,960 to rent a lot at the campground. Some campers, like Lee, say they can't afford the price increase, resulting in them trying to sell their camping trailers.
It's more geared to the older generation. There's a lot of people who are on pensions and stuff.
Anyone who can't sell their trailers by the end of the month after the park closes for the season will have to pay a winter storage fee of more than $250. Holiday Beach's campground is the only one in Windsor, Essex that sits on provincially owned land. The other 7 campgrounds are all privately owned. ERCA's board approved fee increases of $150 in 2021 and $200 last year and this year, but a report to the board says these increases have not kept pace with rates charged in local comparable campgrounds in our region. Even with the higher rate, Holiday Beach's fees are still lower than the average of all 7 private campgrounds in Windsor, Essex. However, it's cheaper than the least expensive private campground, Sturgeon Woods, by only $20. This was also included in a letter to the campers dated September 29th. Lee and the other campers first heard about it in this article in the Rivertown Times, which was published 6 days after the meeting. Since then, they've been trying to sell their trailers without success.
$500 was excessive, and comparing us to private campgrounds is not a fair assessment. That's not apples to apples. That's apples to oranges.
ERCA's chief administrative officer says while he sympathizes with the campers, ERCA's hand was forced.
With the passage of Bill 23 by the province, we received instruction that basically there can be no tax money, no levy money go into the operation of that park.
I think ERCA could have come to us and said, We're in a jam. Bill 23 doesn't let us use taxpayer money anymore. We're going to increase your fees over the next 3 years, $250, $250, $250. Instead of just $500.
Bernie says IRCA is exploring other options to recoup the lost revenue, but Lee says if the campers were consulted before the fees were increased, they could have had more time to decide if they can afford to stay. TJ Deere, CBC News, Amherstburg.
Windsor police have charged someone with stunt driving after a vehicle crashed in an East End parking lot. Have a look. Police say someone shared this video with them after they were told about some erratic driving in a parking lot. Windsor police say the driver's license was suspended for 30 days and the vehicle impounded for 14. Many community organizations continue to deal with financial fallout due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but some local charities and nonprofits got a boost from the federal government. More than $1.5 million was given to 31 local organizations earlier this year.
Means that we're able to offer life skills programming to our youth with physical disabilities that we support across Windsor and Essex County. Without this funding, it's an add-on program to our core programs, and we would not be able to offer this type of independent living type of skills for our youth.
McBride Youth United Association was another organization that received funding. They provide knowledge to at-risk youth with programs to teach essential life skills.
So getting this funding, we really appreciate it. We're very grateful for it because we use it to really enhance our mentorship program and really help the youth in Windsor to kind of push them to a brighter future.
Yeah, I think there's no shortage of people in the community that need our support. And the more funding we have, the more people we can help, right? So it means a lot.
Runners on both sides of the border will take to the streets this Sunday for the 45th annual Detroit Free Press Marathon. We caught up with a Tecumseh runner who's run the race every year for the past 20. He told me today that over the years it's gotten less about the quick times and more about the tradition. So you ran your first marathon before you had kids. Now 20 years later, you've got a child that's 18 and 15. What's it been like watching your kids grow up through your marathon running?
It's one of my favorite things about the Detroit Marathon, and what we've done with it is every year after the race, my wife gets me and the kids together. You see the babies and then toddlers and then bigger and bigger. So we chart the growth of our kids. I can see across that 20 years of pictures.
When you look at those pictures, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a beautiful memory. I love it when looking back to see the size of my kids and comparing then and now, and I just really enjoy that. When they were really young, they'd be making up signs like "Go Dad, go," or "There's my dad," and stuff like that, and maybe run along 100 meters along the race with me, and that was really nice to have.
For somebody like myself, running a marathon every year for the last 20 years seems painful. Why do you do it?
The camaraderie of it, getting together with a couple thousand other people, all with the same goal, and that have kind of gone through the same training, and now we're going to go push through to the end and have a good time. That's one of the best parts of the race. So getting out there and interacting with people, the spectators and the runners, that's what I'm really looking forward to. "39 years ago tomorrow, the Detroit Tigers did something they haven't since. That's win the World Series. That happened on October 14th, 1984, defeating San Diego 4-1. Fans remember it for Kirk Gibson's homer and the wild celebration that followed. We have footage of that celebration on both sides of the border. This story done by the CBC's Paul Patterson.
3 hours before the game even started, thousands of hometown fans choked the streets, anticipating a Tiger victory. Many without tickets had just come to share in the World Series glory. Another group of fans was arriving by bus, also claiming the prestige of being hometown fans. But these fans came from Canada. At bars around Windsor today, scenes like these were typical.
Detroit, as far as I'm concerned, is part of Windsor.
We're Americanized. Here's to the Tigers. What can I say?
But why cheer the Detroit Tigers and not the Toronto Blue Jays?
I would like to see them do well also, but once you have one team in your heart, you just can't get it out of your system. It's faithful. You have to be faithful to your team, and the Tigers are my team. And
when the Tigers won the series, Americans and Canadians poured onto the field and started a wild celebration that many predict will go all night. At the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, the party got even wilder. Police had ringed the stadium and were donning riot gear. But it's hard to control fans who haven't won a World Series since 1968, no matter what side of the border they come from.
And just like that, it's Friday once again, Friday the 13th, for any of you who may be superstitious. And although it's considered an unlucky day, I'm hoping for the opposite with our weather forecast this weekend. That's coming up after the break. Today is Friday the 13th, one of only two this entire year. For some, it's considered an unlucky day, but not everyone believes in that superstition. Our video producer Mike Evans headed out to see how people were feeling about this day.
Complete opposite. I think it's good luck.
In what way?
I don't know. I guess because everyone thinks it's bad luck, I just feel like it's good luck. Just like When you go to an apartment building, there's never a 13th floor. I just think it's good luck.
It only happens twice or once a year, Friday the 13th.
Exactly, so that's cool. It's good luck.
The first of the month, when I wake up every first of the month, I always say to myself, rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. And that is to bring prosperity and good luck for the rest of the month.
I do. This one can be tricky too. I don't like stepping on any lines on the sidewalk. I always try to step over them, like stepping on a crack.
So I bet your mom appreciates that.
Oh, she definitely does.
So you two just got married. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm asking people, today's Friday the 13th, I'm asking people if they're superstitious at all.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not at all. Lucky number 13 for us.
Absolutely.
So did you guys look at the calendar and say, we want to get married on Friday the 13th?
Yes,
We did. We
it was
literally
very
pushed it back a
intentional.
year because we found out it could be in October.
October, Friday the 13th? Absolutely.
100%, yeah.
Colette, some mixed reviews there. I would not consider myself a superstitious person, but I will say when I was playing soccer, I had to do these very specific stretches in a specific order during warm-ups, or else I felt like I was not going to have a good game, which seems absolutely ridiculous now. Do you have any strange superstitions?
Yeah, I think those sports ones, though, it goes with athletes and fans, right? Well, Friday the 13th, my eldest sister was born on a Friday the 13th, so I consider it lucky because she's a gem. But those ones about not opening an umbrella indoors, I think that meteorologists can get away with that. So I've always said that to myself. I'm like, there's probably got to be an exception.
You wouldn't want like a meteorologist curse or anything.
I don't know. I always think about them and then I just try and okay, let's be cool. You broke a mirror. It's okay. Let's relax, everybody. Yeah. So in terms of the weather, perhaps we can relax a little bit in terms of where we're going by the time we get to Sunday anyway, but I would just plan accordingly for the next 24 hours to 36 as we kind of look at the forecast with the wet weather that's going to be moving in and the windy conditions. Okay, it's not bad luck, it's just science and Mother Nature here. So our current temperature is 11 and 12 degrees that we're seeing. The winds, they're starting to pick up a little bit, but they're not that significant. As we approach midnight, they will get stronger. We're going to see much stronger winds overnight through tomorrow morning. Some of the gusts then over 60 kilometers an hour. And this is as the system is kind of passing by. And then those winds will recede or start to drop off a bit as we get to tomorrow night. There's some improvement at least. The sustained winds will be lighter, and then still looking at kind of a northerly flow as we go into Sunday, but they'll be lighter still. So that's where we get into the improvement. For now, that band of heavier rain is to the north and even kind of just glancing blow through Sarnia, and then it's pushed even north from there. But this is all going to fill in. It's a very broad system. There were 10 tornadoes through the past 24 hours stateside, and 7 of them associated with this system. The other 3, by the way, were in Florida. So as it tracks in, we'll see this all beginning to fill in. And yes, some of the heavier rain around Lake St. Clair through this region, down towards Leamington, Point Pelee, and then eventually pushes up towards Sarnia as well. And when I say the heavier amounts of rain, I'll show you in just a moment. But even as we get into Saturday evening, it's at least a lighter precipitation, and then it's more scattered showers that we have Saturday night and into Sunday. So potentially 20 to 25 millimeters of rain along kind of the western edge and north shore of Lake Erie, and then we're going to see it back off. So even though I still have rain in Saturday night and Sunday, it becomes much more intermittent. It's more clouds than the rain showers. And yes, there's still some shower risk into Monday, but again, it's really tomorrow and especially the first half of the day where it's more organized along with tonight. 11 for your high, Sunday 13. And I will leave you with this, that as we get towards midweek next week and the end of next week, we're going to find those temperatures actually climbing on us.
I don't know, Colette, kind of looking like an unlucky weekend.
It depends how you look at it. We're going to debunk that. Just get your umbrella, open it wherever you want, and enjoy.
Thanks so much for that, Colette.
You're welcome.
The identity of an internet meme has been unveiled. We bring you the story of Game Boy Mom. That's coming up. before we leave you, a meme of a mom playing a Game Boy with 4 kids huddled around her has been making its rounds on the internet for years. It turns out Game Boy Mom is from Saskatchewan, and a YouTuber did some internet snooping to track her down. Dan Plaster has their story.
Do you remember this meme? For more than 10 years, it's been shared across the internet. It started in 2012 on Reddit's r/gaming. The mystery surrounding this wholesome family moment was finally solved by internet sleuth, YouTuber Sakura Stardust. The family photo was taken in Prince Albert's, and the mom in the middle is Deborah Tooley.
I decided to just search Reddit specifically and find the earliest post. And that's when I found Zoza Cloud's original post from 2011. I couldn't find anything before that. The difference with those posts, with the later posts and that one specifically, is that he referred to the mother in the photo as his own mother.
She just messaged me out of the blue, and she's like, "Do you mind if I asked you a few questions and maybe did a video?" I said, "Absolutely, yeah." I posted on Reddit back in 2012, and just an innocent, "Here's my mom in a cute photo."
So they would come over and they get to that level, they bring it over to me and say, "Okay, Auntie Debbie, or Mom, get us past this level." And they were watching to see how I did it so they could recreate that.
It blew up, like millions of views in a matter of weeks, and we just didn't expect that.
I grew up in the 90s playing like Mario Kart with my mom, or like Super Mario World, stuff like that. And while I don't have a lot of photos of us playing video games together, that photo in itself and their story behind the photo just reminds me so much of my mom.
It wasn't until Sakura and Scott sort of got together on this little project that I realized how popular it was. And it's not necessarily just here, it's like all over the world, other languages and stuff. So it just blew me away.
We couldn't be more proud that she really put justice to our memory.
Oh, I can remember playing Mario Kart. I can also remember fighting with my sister over the game as well. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. You can also download the CBC News app for stories that matter most to you. Don't forget to watch The National tonight at 9 on CBC News Network, 10 p.m. on the CBC News app, CBC TV, and streaming. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here next week.